Welcome to Sint-Michielsgestel for the 2000 World Championship Cyclocross, and for the first time ever, the women's race. Hello everybody, I'm Paul Sherwen, bringing you World Cycling Productions coverage of the World Cyclocross Championships. And for the first time ever, most of the best women in the world have been assembled for this title. The first time ever they've raced for the world title at this discipline in the sport of cycling and cyclocross. And I hope he's not going to use that gun on anybody that's in the starting area there. Well, so far the championships has been totally dominated by the Belgians as we see the women head off here for what is going to be a 13-kilometre race. And the most important part of a cyclocross race is the first few kilometres, because you really do have to get into the first obstacles in as good a position as possible. And we're talking about in the first 4 or 5 places. As you can see, the weather here is atrocious. It's been raining almost incessantly for the last week, and very much of the race route is turned into a quagmire. Good start by the Dutch and the Germans there, going around that first corner. It's so important to take risks over the first road section of the Cyclocross Championships. It gives you a good chance to set yourself up to ride well over the next few laps, because it's in these first difficulties that the accidents always happen. Somebody's trying to take a risk to move up the outside, bicycle wheels touch or handlebars interlock, and somebody goes down. Well, the Germans are leading out first here. This is Hanke Kumpfernagel right off the front, exploding the pace. A good start for Germany. Now this is the first dodgy part of the course here. The course is a very good mix, but very technical indeed. This looks like Kumpfernagel on the front there, the German rider who is actually better renowned as a world road racing rider. There is Robinson from Great Britain going through, and you can see just how difficult this course is. It really has been made into a very big mud bath because of this rain over the last few days. So you can see the important thing about cyclocross that's difference between mountain biking is the course is actually designed to force the riders to get off at certain parts of the course and actually carry those machines. Well, Kumpfernagel in the front there in the blue and white strip of Germany is being chased by Van den Brand in the orange jersey of Holland, and the French rider coming up there as well is Laurence Leboucher. Very fast start here to this 13-kilometre bike race for the ladies, and as you can see already, in fact I can see 3 riders at the front of the bike race there, and that other American rider in there looks to me very much like Alison Dunlap. Dunlap, a very good mountain biker, also performs pretty well on the road as well. All of these women now really looking at a 12-month season, mixing road racing, mountain biking and cyclocross, as are their male partners, just to try and keep the form there. So Dunlap in 3rd position. This is a leading group of 3 riders on the very first lap. Kumpfernagel, the winner last year of the Women's World Cup, the leading world road racing rider for the ladies. And she's obviously decided her tactic today is going to be get out there as fast as possible. And she's done that. In fact, she's put everybody else into a certain amount of difficulty because they've not been able to follow her pace around this very first lap. Here's the French girl, Laurence Leboucher, coming along there with Hanke van den Brand in 2nd position on her wheel in the orange. And it looked as if Alison Dunlap has slipped away somewhat. Well, there's the leader, 8 minutes 20 seconds for the first lap of the course. The 2 chasers will get a chance here just to see what that time gap is. Clock ticking by for Leboucher as she leads them over. It's a very long straight here. You can see the average speed, 20.6 kilometers an hour. That's just over 12 miles an hour. 20 seconds. And the rider moving forward now. Dunlap, in fact, seemed to be in a great deal of difficulty. This looks very much to me like a Great Britain jersey moving up to this chasing group of 2. In fact, it is. This is Louise Robinson. Very good move there. Louise Robinson, 35 years of age, an excellent mountain biker. She's actually looking forward to riding the mountain bike championships at the Olympic Games. Good move there as we rejoin Kumpfernagel at the front. This is the tricky uphill steps there. That certainly hurts once you've been riding for about 30 or 40 minutes, but the technique was there. This has been perfectly built here for the World Cyclocross Championships. No fear at all there as Hanke Kumpfernagel just slips down the other side there. This is the run-up now for Robinson. The chasing group of 3 starting to look very serious. Robinson, in fact, had a very difficult start losing a lot of time, in fact ending up being halfway down the main field, but she didn't panic. She's actually recuperated sensibly and ridden her way right through the field to move up into the second position on the course right now. Robinson, at 35 years of age, is actually the daughter of Brian Robinson, the very famous British rider who became the first British rider ever to win a stage in the Tour de France. And she now is trying to follow in her father's wheel marks and hoping to go this year to the Olympic Games in Sydney to ride the mountain bike. She feels at 35 years of age it may well be her last shot. And that's why many of the mountain bikers and road riders here really have come to use the Cyclocross Championship this year as a preparation for what they expect to be a very good long season. Oh, there's a bit of a problem there. Van den Brand has gone off towards the pits. Now that is a strange move. She shouldn't have gone into the pits at this time, because that really is a very difficult moment. She's stopped, she's changing a bike, a quick bike change there on the left-hand side, but that is in fact given Louise Robinson the advantage. Robinson now has got 20 seconds. We're now coming into the final lap here. Well, Robinson has opened up 20 or 30 yards over Van den Brand, Daphne Van den Brand. Robinson kicking hard up these steps now over the top. The fluidity as she actually leaps back onto the machine. Van den Brand onto the bike here. She's got a completely clean bike there. She's obviously decided there was a problem with her tyres. These riders in cyclocross, by the way, they can change their machines usually 3 times a lap if they need to, and especially on a muddy day like today, they have to do that because the bike certainly starts to get clogged up, and the idea is to keep it as clean as possible. So once they change their machines, as we look here at Hanke Kuffernagel, she is riding up to the finish line for what is going to be victory in the first ever Women's Cyclocross Championships. And what a great performance. There was absolutely no challenge at all. She went out on the first lap. She's the best woman rider on the road, and today she will be crowned the best woman rider at cyclocross as well. A great performance by her. She is absolutely over the moon. There's a big chase on behind. We're going to have to wait for around about 1 minute before Louise Robinson comes, and here she is. Louise Robinson, in fact, a great move by her. She decided to keep going straight on the final lap, and I reckon there's seriously been an error there by Daphne Van den Brand, the rider in the orange jersey of Holland here. Very strange to see her changing that machine on the last lap. Louise Robinson, silver medal over the line, 57 seconds behind the winner. And this is Daphne Van den Brand, cursing, I would think, at the fact that she actually stopped on that last lap, went into the pits, took the risk of coming up with a brand new clean machine for the sprint, but she lost out and wasn't able to stay in contention and stay in the wheel there. But she seems pretty happy. Bronze medal for Daphne Van den Brand, 1 minute 16 behind, and the British supporters there very excited to see that Louise Robinson gives Great Britain their first silver medal at the World Women's Cyclocross Championships. Well, nobody could challenge this lady. They can't challenge her on the road either, and she will be looking to have a very successful attack this year at the Women's World Cup on the road. But for today, the arc-en-ciel, the rainbow jersey, will go onto her shoulders, and here is confirmation of that result. Kumpfernagel ahead of Louise Robinson and Daphne Van den Brand in third place. Laurence Le Boucher fourth. Alison Dunlop riding well to finish fifth, and also Carmen Richardson up there in 8th place. Well, the first time ever that we've had a World Cyclocross Championships for women, and it will go to Germany. The silver medal will be given to Louise Robinson, certainly following in the footsteps of her father, the first British stage winner at the Tour de France, and his daughter Louise will be the first silver medalist for Great Britain in the World Cyclocross Championships. And third place, a serious tactical error, I feel, on the final lap there when she went to get herself a new machine. But this is Daphne Van den Brand, 1 minute 16 seconds behind. Well, that will give the Dutch something to shout about, because we are here in Sint-Michielsgestel, and this in fact is the hometown of Richard Groendahl, one of the most consistent men cyclocross riders for Holland. But certainly the podium there completed as we now look at the race route that the men will be facing in a few moments' time. 705 meters on the road, 1,000 meters of grass, 880 meters of trail, making a total of 2.6 kilometers around. Starting line for the men's under-23 championships, and the Belgians obviously looking to put in a good performance here. The defending champion Bart Wellens wearing number 1, leading Belgium last year to a 1-2 with Ton van Oppen taking second place and the American Tim Johnson taking third. A very tense moment as the gun goes. Everybody knows how important it is. Look at the acceleration. The Belgians there down the barrier, really wanting to get into the opening part as quickly as possible. It looks like Bart Wellens right on the front grid now, actually opening up. And there's been an incident at the back. One of the Dutch riders had a problem there. The Dutchman here got caught up with the Czech Republic rider, and that is going to be very difficult. The Czech Republic rider now is going to have to run for around about 600 meters to get to the first pit, because that will be the first place he has a chance of actually changing his machine. There are 3 pit points around this course here, the 2.6 kilometer course. But at the front there's accidents as well in this first corner. Everybody taking risks. That's somebody from Germany there. Going into the corner, interlocking of bars and 2 riders going down. The place not to be in a cyclocross championships is in the last 10 or 15 places, because you just get caught up behind so many traffic jams here. Now already the Belgians showing a dominant role in this event. The defending champions, as we said, Bart Wellens wears number 1 as last year's winner. He's still just 22 years of age. A lot of Dutchmen in there in the orange jerseys as well. Belgium fielding 9 riders in this championships. Just going to show how dominant the Belgians have become over the last few years at this sport. Well, Wellens is right on the front there, putting the pressure on. Right behind him was Van den Berg from Holland in the orange jersey. And the field is already pretty much strung out here. These riders will face 18 kilometers around this course. Wellens flicking them around, a very experienced bike rider. One of the Italians moving up there as well. Into third position. Wellens right on his wheel is Chris van den Berg of Holland. There are a lot more Belgians still in the top 10. A big contingent of French riders as well here, led by Julien Berthaud, wearing number 10. Now look at this. This is an incident at the back here. One of the Dutch riders going down there. That looked like Frik de Jong. In fact, that was. Everybody really wants to be in the first position going around these obstacles on the first few laps, because it is so very easy to lose big time. The run-up. Wellens leads him up there. The fluidity, this man just seems to roll off his bike, and that machine is on his shoulder before you can say Jack Robinson. The Belgian moving up there, Tom van Oppen. He was second in this championship last year, and this is the long, fast descent. You don't want to touch your brakes too much there. Van den Berg is leading the group in first position here. As we look back, there's still big gaps, but the acceleration has come here from Wellens. Belgians turning out to see their men perform here. They're looking for a performance similar to last year. They can only hope that they will. The Belgians have in fact dominated this championship for the last 3 years. Sven Nys, who will later be riding the senior event, won the championships in Munich in '97, as he did the year after in Middelfart in '98, and then it was Bart Wellens who took over. Wellens, a very titled rider. He was second in '97, second in '98, and went on to win the title last year in Propad. Now this is Wellens. He's really showing a clean pair of wheels to everyone. You see that run up there. I can tell you one thing, after a couple of laps around here, the legs really start to burn when you have to force your body up those steps, but it doesn't seem to affect him at all. Germany here. This is Weigold, and he's with Van Poppen. They're in second and third place on the road at the moment, but there's another Belgian coming forward. That's Davy Comane. The Belgians really are pushing at this. This is second place rider on the road. This is Tom van Oppen. He's around about 25 seconds behind the lone leader Bart Wellens at the moment. This is third and fourth place on the road. This is Davy Comane, and with him the German rider Steve Weigold. Now the Belgian won't work too much with the German here. He's got 2 teammates up the road as we now join The Dutchman racing on home ground here, Chris van den Berg. Alongside him, the young Frenchman is Daniel Derapa. Frenchman leads them down around that corner. Big acceleration now, but this is the man who's doing all of the damage at the front of this bike race. This is a man who will go on next year to ride the senior championships. He'll be looking for a professional contract. And Belgian cycling has really come to the fore in the discipline of cyclocross. 4 laps remaining, and already we're looking at the man who is the defending champion and looking to take his second title back to Belgium here. And that's not very far away. We're not too far from the Belgian border. This is the hometown of Richard Groendaal. Groendaal, a tough man. He'll be looking today to try and do something special in front of his home crowd, because certainly Rabobank, the sponsors of the big professional team and the races all over the world, have put a lot of money into cyclocross over the last couple of years. Well, that's Van Poppen, fair way behind, currently trying to survive, and this is the 3rd and 4th place riders on the road. This is the German rider Weigold with another Belgian, that's Comane. They're 50 seconds adrift at the moment. Here's the leader, quickly over the bunny hops, dragging his body up there as soon as he can. You see, he throws the machine off his shoulder, leaps back into the saddle, because he can open up the gap a lot quicker with that fluidity of motion, getting off the machine and on it. These are maneuvers that these riders practice many, many times. Tom van Oppen with Weigold. German rider who would love to emulate Mike Klug, the great German cyclocross rider and mountain biker as well. Weigold trying to distance himself from the Belgian Tom Comane, but I tell you one thing, Comane is going to stay there as long as possible. And in fact, the German now is bridging across to the 2nd place bike rider out on this course. The urgency in his pedaling stroke. Well, there's no doubt about this. This is Bart Wellens coming up, looking over his shoulder now. He realizes there's no challenge coming at all. His own teammate Tom van Oppen is more than 40 seconds behind him, so he can enjoy the ride up the finishing straight as he did last year in Propad. Belgian taking the victory there. Bart Wellens, after taking the win last year, is going to do it once again. 53 minutes in the saddle for this young man, and what a great performance by him. He knows he's done it. 2 years in a row for Belgium. Bart Wellens is going to be the under-23 World Cyclocross Champion. But will they lead the clean sweep? Because out on the course is another Belgian rider, and he's taken a flag from the crowd. This is Tom van Oppen, but more than 35 seconds has gone by since his teammate Bart Wellens crossed the line. Well, there is a 1-2 for Belgium. The Belgian flag flying high as Bart Wellens is completely surrounded by the press there. The Belgian press are over the moon with the performance of the Belgian bike riders here at the World Cyclocross Championships. And I say Tom van Oppen too is pretty happy, but they'll be even more happy now because they're looking at the clean sweep. 1, 2, 3 for Belgium. This is David Comane coming in. A great ride by him, and certainly great team tactics. The Belgians went out very fast on the opening lap, put themselves into a situation where they had Bart Wellens leading on the course, and then the rest of the guys played a defending role. Well, David Derapa from France, well, he was not able to break into the Belgian block. He was 4th. Stefan Weigold, who was up there for a long time, coming across the line in 6th place. Well, certainly the Belgians very happy on the podium here. There's the rainbow jersey being put onto the shoulders of Bart Wellens, and that will boost the morale for the riders who will be coming up later for the elite, the men's senior World Championships, because the Belgians are also the defending champions at that discipline as well. The highest step on the podium for Bart Wellens, and the Belgian referee there, a very famous Belgian referee, is putting the silver medal onto one of his compatriots. That's Tom van Oppen, gets second place. This course has certainly been dug up a little bit because of this bad weather we've had here over the last week or so. It's a real quagmire, very difficult, saps the strength out of the legs of these bike riders, as that makes it the 1-2-3. David Comain of Belgium, a great performance and dominant performance by the Belgians here at the World Cyclocross Championships for the under-23s. Next event is the junior event. Juniors will face 13 kilometers of this course, which is 6 laps. The starter just demonstrating the gun. The Dutch riders very nervous indeed. For them, they want to put in a top performance here in Holland. They're in front of the Dutch crowd. Wearing number 1 in this competition is the American rider Josh Anthony. Last year's first placed rider Matthew Kelly is not on the start line here. He's moved up to the next rank. A quick start there as we pull away. All the support crews now running down to make sure there are no problems in the first 500 meters. The French in the light blue jerseys there accelerating. The British a little too far back, but the big explosion from the orange guard at the front, that's Holland. They're racing on home turf. They want to get the victory here. They've just seen a clean sweep by Belgium in the under-23 championships. So the Dutch certainly must come out to perform. Oh, there's an incident at the back there for the Czech Republic. That would be a difficult one to recover from. And everybody's all over the road. It is so greasy out there on that corner. Great Britain at the back. Belgium at the front again. Shadowed very much by the Dutch in the orange jerseys. This is a great sport, you know, but it certainly takes a lot of preparation to be on form for an event as short and explosive as this. These are the bunny hops. The bunny hops put in here to slow the riders down, to force them to dismount. The reason for cyclocross is, in fact, to make the riders do a certain amount off the machine throughout the course of the route here. And this would have been a much faster course if it hadn't been for this incessant rain we've been experiencing here for the last week. They're racing for the United States. Walker Ferguson, wearing number 2 in this championships, is well in with the thick of the action at the moment. A lot of Belgians, though, riding to the front. There is Daniel Parpon, and here is Ferguson. Ferguson riding a very strong race indeed. He's hoping to try and emulate the performance last year of the young winner, Matt Kelly, from the United States. Kelly now deciding he'd rather concentrate more on mountain bike racing, so he's not here at the championships. And we hear from Walker Ferguson that he would seriously like to ride a little bit more on the road. As you can see him here, putting the pressure on at the front very quickly up onto his machine. He's in second place at the moment. A good performance by him. This young man would certainly like to be a top road rider, but would also like to spend a bit of time riding on the mountain bike circuit as well. Well, he's up there with Bart Ernouts from Belgium, wearing number 8, Peter Gilbert, and the Dutchman here leading the chase. 3 Dutchmen in this group now, trying to perform in front of a very partisan crowd indeed. But you can see this is a quagmire as somebody heads off into the pits there. Now the rule here is when they come into this pit area, they have to swing off as they do in Formula 1 racing, change their machines. Quick one. That's a very quick turn of speed through the pits there. In fact, he's going to take the advantage because the road you can see there is actually a little drier in the pit area. And Walker Ferguson losing a bit of time there. We're now looking at the leader, Ernouts. A little more chaos here as you see riders quickly going into the pits there. Quick change. In fact, I think it'd be a lot more sensible to go through there because the ground is certainly that little bit harder. Acceleration now on the front from Belgium. Bart Ernouts wearing number 6 has opened up a gap on the second place rider, the American rider, Walker Ferguson. 15 seconds adrift at the moment. And still more and more Belgians out on the course. Gilbert was in there, and the Dutchmen trying to pull themselves up. Van Hummel is in here as well for Holland in the orange jersey. But coming up to the line, there will be no challenge to this young man. He knows now, he's looked over his shoulder, he can't see any challenges coming at all. And it's going to be another victory for Belgium. After last year's winner, Matt Kelly, the first man on the podium in the junior event this year, is going to be a Belgian. Wearing number 6, Bart Ernouts, crosses the line, 13 kilometers covered in just outside of 41 minutes of racing. Well, a great start with the championships here for Belgium. They've taken the under-23 title, now they've taken the junior title. There's only one more title to go, and there's chaos down there. Well, this is Walker Ferguson, a great ride by him. He should be happy with that. He's lost 15 seconds, but he certainly showed, and he took an awful lot of action in that group. Now it's going to be a big sprint now for third place. There's a very large group in here. Coming up to the line, the Belgian rider coming down the outside is Van Hummel. Then there's a big challenge coming from Holland. The Dutch riders trying to force their way to the front on the home crowd here. Now coming around the outside is one of the Czech riders. Up on the line, that's David Kasek, 47 seconds behind the winner. Well, let's have a look at that sprint one again. You very rarely see a sprint like this at the end of a cyclocross race. The Czech rider David Kasek leads home Van Hummel, Gilbert of Belgium and De Kort of Holland. But this is the face of the young man who came out the leader here at the Junior World Championships. Under 19 years of age, following in the wheel marks last year of Matt Kelly. Confirmation, Ernouts leading Walker Ferguson home by 15 seconds ahead of David Kasek, and this is the podium. Well, once again, the music of the national anthem of Belgium will be heard high over the crowds here at the World Championships in Sint-Michielsgestel. Bart Ernouts will be happy to lead 2 gold medals now for the Belgians. The final event of the weekend, the one that everybody has been waiting for, the elite, the professionals, the creme de la creme. Riding for Holland there, wearing number 11, Wim de Vos. But certainly the Belgians are the number 1 favourites here for this championship. Adrie van der Poel, 40 years of age, and what a long and illustrious career. A silver medal in the World Road Racing Championships, a gold medal at the World Cyclocross Championships, and there's Mario de Klerk. Richard Groendaal lives in the town here, Groendaal. He really is on home territory today, and he will be looking for a great performance. He's been a world junior cyclocross champion, but he's never quite been able to come up to the mark when it comes to the World Championships. Sven Nys there wearing number 4. And Daniel Pontoni wearing number 45 for Italy, another former World Cyclocross Championships. And these men are away. The final event, and this is one which is going to be very rapid indeed. In there, riding for Great Britain, is Roger Hammond, a professional normally on the road throughout the season, and he will be looking for a great performance. Roger Hammond actually has been already a world junior road cyclocross champion, and you can see the rapid start here. The Dutch right on the front. Immediately the flag has gone down. The Dutch are showing that this is the one that they want to get. They're racing on home turf. They've been looking seriously to try and dominate this event, and so far they've been having a certain amount of difficulty. 2 titles going to Belgium and 1 title going to Germany. Can the Dutch do it here? Sven Nys very close to the front there. Adrie van der Poel as well. An excellent road rider. Van der Poel has excelled after almost 20 years as a professional bike rider. He's won the Tour of Flanders. He's won so many of the great road races. He's won the yellow jersey on the Tour de France. He's been the Dutch national road champion, the Dutch national cyclocross champion. He's been world champion. And what a story that would be if he could go out with a world title here at the age of 40. Well, this is chaos behind. If we don't get a good start in cyclocross, you are doomed to try and scrabble through that traffic jam over the first few laps. Once we get into laps 2 and 3, then seriously it starts to open up a little bit, and it's a question then of survival. Groendahl leading round. Sven Nys, Mario de Klerk, the winner of the last 2 editions of the World Championships, wearing number 1 today. Wim de Vos is up there as well for Holland. The Dutch have got 2 riders in this leading group. De Vos and Groendahl, followed by Nys. Another Belgian moving in there as well, Verweken. So 3 Belgian riders in the top 5, 2 Dutch riders in the top 5. And already you can see the gaps are starting to appear. The bunny hops forcing the riders to dismount at the bottom of the climb here, instead of being able to ride up for 10 or 20 yards. Verweken on the front. Montoni is very much in there as well. But for the moment, advantage going to the 2 Dutchmen. Second position there for Groendahl. Serious gap starting to open. De Klerk certainly looking for a good performance there, with Groendahl on the far side, going round his country mate there, trying to get to the first position. This speed is unbelievable. In fact, the course has hardened out a little bit overnight because of the very heavy frost we had here, making it much faster than it has been for any of the other events so far. You can see it's not as muddy as it was for the ladies and the under-23s. Groendahl is on the front here. Verweken chasing him, followed by Nys, De Vos and de Klerk. In this leading group of about 5 riders now, which is starting to form after just 1 lap of the World Cyclocross Championships. These riders will face about 21 kilometers on this course here. As we can see, that the top men, the top contenders in cyclocross throughout this whole winter season. The top man really has been Sven Nys, the Belgian rider. There's Groendahl, there's de Klerk, there's Nys, there's Verweken. 2 more Belgians coming through there as well. The Belgians certainly trying to keep very much to the front there. That was Bert Berden. Swiss, that was Bert Wabel there. Bert Wabel, the man who himself has won a title here at the World Championships. But we're not seeing an awful lot of the Swiss riders in cyclocross these days. They used to be very dominant, with the victory by Pascal Richard a few years ago, the World Cyclocross Championships. Richard, also the Olympic road racing champion, and now this year will be riding for the Linda McCartney squad on the road. De Vos in there, as well as the rider from the Czech Republic. That was Simonek. But still the pressure on the front is coming from Richard Groendahl, and what pressure it must be, because he is the homeboy here from Sint-Michielsgestel. He lives in the town here. He's helped to design this course. And if you get a shot, that looks like Roger Hammond moving up there as well. Groendahl totally motivated. Knows he's got to get rid of the 2 Belgians. Right on his wheel there is the outgoing world champion Mario de Klerk, Sven Nys. Now Sven Nys in 3rd position there, in fact, is the teammate of the man on the front, Richard Groendahl. Although they're riding today for separate countries, normally throughout the season they ride for the same Rabobank squad. There's Roger Hammond going through there, looking for a very good season on the road this year. It's his 2nd year as a professional on the circuit. Now, in fact, this part of the course is really a quagmire. It was so much harder on the other part there as Groendahl accelerates here. Sven Nys has gone into the pits there. A quick change for him and straight out. The other Dutchman coming through there is Wim de Vos in the orange jersey. What an acceleration there. Groendahl has got the gap. Listen to the crowd. They want to see a Dutch victory here, but they're going to be hard put because the two Belgians are off in pursuit. Sven Nys and Mario de Klerk in second and third position, but look at that gap. He's flown down there. De Vos is moving up there into fourth position. Chance here just to see the speed of this man. Groendahl looks over his shoulder to see what sort of damage he's doing to the rest of the pack here, and this, for cyclocross, I have to say, is very fast indeed. Groendahl was the world junior champion at Pontchâteau in 1989. He's always looked to try and put himself to the front in the men's elite, but he never actually managed to come up with the title. He's been so very close. He's had 2 silver medals. And he finished well to the front when Adrie van der Poel won in Paris in 1996. Now this is a brave move to open up a gap so very early on, but there's a big group behind there. There's 1, 2 Belgians, 3 Belgians in this chasing group. Now this should be a good organisation for the Belgians, but we did hear at the start this morning that there was a little bit of animosity in the camp there because Sven Nys, who's supposed to be working and looking after Mario de Klerk today, had actually openly said he would not help his teammate if Richard Groendahl chased away, because he said, after all, although today I'm riding for Belgium, it's the Rabobank team that pays for my wages. So 3 Belgian chasers. Looking long down the line here. This is Adrie van der Poel leading the next group on the road. Van der Poel, what a contender, 40 years of age. He's been racing at the top of the sport for almost 20 years. Groendahl quickly off. The crowd are getting behind this man wearing number 13, but that doesn't seem to be affecting him. He's taking a lot of risks. You see the rear of his machine is slipping all over the place here. And the big chase is now coming from behind. It'll be interesting to see just exactly what Sven Nys is going to do. Nys in second position in this small group here. Wim de Vos is the Dutch rider in the group. Leading the chase is the rider from Polmans, Mario de Klerk, winner of the World Championships. Decided a couple of years ago that having tried racing on the road, he would dedicate himself completely to cyclocross, and took out the championships last year in Propad and 2 years ago in Middelvaart. He's not getting, for the moment, any help at all. You can see the orange helmet there of the second place Belgian rider. Well, that just goes to show you that he is in fact a Rabobank rider. And just a quick glimpse there, it looked very much in fact as if Adrie van der Poel has made it across the gap here. Van der Poel, what a great ride. He was in a group much further back there. So Mario de Klerk alongside him, Sven Nys. De Klerk is being forced to do all of the work. There is Van der Poel up in the leading group. So we have Wim de Vos and Adrie van der Poel, Sven Nys. Oh, there's a problem. There's a problem for Richard Groendahl. He's off his machine. He hits a very thick patch of mud there. And he's just trying to get the machine going again. Well, he won't have lost any time with that at all. But he is now back in the saddle, riding sensibly. Well, I bet his heart went up a few notches there. Still looking fluid. That doesn't seem to have affected him at all. Now in the chase group. Still Mario de Klerk in the white helmet on the front here. Quick bike change for him. Another bike change for his teammate Sven Nys. Going round there as well is the Dutchman Wim de Vos and Adrie van der Poel tagging onto the back. Van der Poel now is having to play very much a defensive role. He also rides for the Rabobank squad, so he won't want at all to chase his teammate. Now look how difficult the run-up is here. De Klerk in the white jersey. Now this is not so good, letting a Dutchman come in front of him. The Dutchman will actually be able to slow him down a little bit in one or two of these technical parts of the course. 1-3, number 13, Richard Groendahl. 5 laps to go, and his advantage over the chasers now is 47 seconds. Now this is beginning to look rather serious. In the chasing group is de Klerk, Nys, Van der Poel there wearing number 16 at the back. In fact, Van der Poel talking to his teammate Sven Nys. Now this is an interesting maneuver here. They're supposed to be riding for separate countries, but in fact they race for the same trade team. I would like to know exactly what Van der Poel said to the young rider from Belgium there, Sven Nys. Quick word with him. Wim de Vos is the other Dutch rider with the white helmet in this leading group. 5 laps to go. Well, we're still looking at 3/4 of a minute advantage. The end of the 3rd lap. Richard Groendahl is being lifted by the crowd. The man lives in this town. He's dreamt about this championships, but you know, it isn't over until they get to the final lap. Anything can happen in the sport of cyclocross. You can break a machine, snap a chain at the wrong time and have to run to the next pit stop. But this guy is really taking all kinds of risks. He's going into those corners at full pelt. Now then, Sven Nys. Ooh, Sven Nys is being booed by the crowd. He's taken off. He's chasing his own compatriot, his teammate here, I should say, for the Rabobank squad. Well, this crowd really is partisan. This man is a Belgian. They're shouting at him. And he may well have cracked them. There is de Klerk in the white helmet, the defending champion, being forced now to sit on the wheel of the 2 Dutchmen. The 2 Dutchmen in this group now are going to try and nail back the young Belgian. But they're all somewhere. Ooh, another slip there. This guy is all over the road. He is just giving it full bore into these corners and just hoping that his ability to hold the machine upright will keep him going with a lot of momentum. Sven Nys. 2nd place for him. This is a completely dominant ride here by the Dutch. They're in 3rd and 4th position out on the road here. Now Sven Nys is the kind of bike rider who has got a chance of getting across there to the lead man, Richard Groendahl. Groendahl starting to suffer now. You see the way those shoulders are starting to rock. He's trying to keep the big gears rolling through this very, very muddy, very thick course. Sven Nys has been the most consistent rider throughout the cyclocross season this winter. And what a title that would be for him. Let's have a look at that slip once more. Richard Groendahl is fighting. Oh, and he's actually almost come off there. He almost went into the barriers, but he did good to keep that upright. Sven Nys, world champion in 1997 at the under-23 level and world champion at Middelfart in 1998. A great young Belgian hopeful. Rides for the all-dominant Rabobank cyclocross team. Rabobank certainly have put an awful lot of money into not just the sport of road cycling, but into cyclocross and into mountain biking as well. Reaction now coming from the Dutch behind. This is Van der Poel. Adrie Van der Poel now with Mario de Klerk, chasing down his own teammate. Well, Adrie Van der Poel there wearing number 16 has said that this will be his last World Championships, and in a couple of weeks' time he will turn his wheels for the last time in anger. What a great competitor he's been, though. Groendahl still not really opening up a super advantage over the rest, because it's still hovering around the 40 to 45 second mark. Looking back down the long straightaway here through the forested part of the course, a very pretty forested part it is as well, is his own teammate Sven Nys chasing him down. Big crowd. Estimated to be 20,000 people from Belgium alone watching this bike race today, and a total of around about 50,000 spectators out on the course. Now Mario de Klerk in the white jersey, he's come past Van der Poel. He's accelerating now up to his own teammate. He would certainly like to make it 3 victories in a row. Van der Poel, the concentration on the face of the man who is basically the oldest man in the professional peloton at the moment at 40 years of age, and a man who really is a joy to watch. I actually raced with Adrie Van der Poel myself, and it's hard to believe that I'm still watching him race today. a great friend of Sean Kelly's. The two of them always having a good laugh together, but when it came down to racing, they put in some pretty good fights at races like the Tour of Flanders and Paris-Roubaix. Now here's confirmation. Gruendal leads Nice by 43 seconds. And in fact, that's all changed right now because de Klerk has come up into second position. De Klerk in the white crash helmet. These two guys are going to change their bikes here at the pit stop. So much faster going through the pits and getting a new machine because the machines are getting so bogged down with the weight of the mud out on this course and just sliding off the mark a little bit there. Adrie van der Poel trying to stay in contact with the two Belgians. De Klerk now pushing those thighs on the run-up, getting into position, making sure the gear is right to go down this plunge on the far side of the run-up. Van der Poel hoping to stay in contention. Richard Gruendal, though, is certainly doing the major part of the damage here. He went out on a mission. He's racing on home turf. He's opened himself up a very smart gap. Got a problem there. No, he was just tightening his shoes. That was all. Just keeping them nice and tight for the final 2 laps. 2 laps, that's around about 4.5 kilometers of racing. And he seems to be having a little problem with his shoes there. Both of those shoes, he's actually had to go down and tighten them up a little bit. He can only hope now that he doesn't have any problems, no incidents, as he flicks it right round the outside of the course there. 2 Belgians, Mario de Klerk and Sven Nys, not working very well at all, and I'm fairly sure that we won't get too much. Look at this, come on. He's trying to get him to come to the front, and in fact he's shaking his head. Sven Nys is saying, I can't do it. He's come to the front. Oh, this is not very good for the Belgian camp at all. The defending champion there, Mario de Klerk, is trying to get his Belgian compatriot to work, and Sven Nys will just not do it at all. Well, that is not going to be good for the morale of the man wearing number 1. He's got his compatriot sitting right on his wheel, and that really is very strange to see at a World Championship level. Normally, when it comes to the World Championships, one tends to forget completely about your team association. One rides for one's country, but on this occasion, it seems as if the young man in second position there from the 2 Belgians in the orange helmet has decided his sponsor is more important than his country today. The leader, Richard Gruendal, flying here on this asphalt part of the course. The crowd getting right behind him. Most of them know him. He's from this town here. He's shaking his head. He's almost certain now that he's going to run out the victor at the end of this stage. He led from the very first lap. Chasing him on the run-up in second and third position on the road are the 2 Belgian riders. Mario de Klerk in first place. Sven Nys in second place. This is like a lap of honor here. The Dutch television up alongside. There he knows he's got it now. He's absolutely convinced. He sits up, pulls his jersey tight for the finish at the end. Around the corner for the last time. Richard Gruendal cannot believe his luck, and his joy is evident. He was world champion back in 1989 in Pontchâteau, and ever since then he's had a host of medals, but it hasn't been this one. It has not been the gold medal since 1989 as a junior in France, and today in front of his home crowd, Richard Gruendal has covered this course in just under 1 hour to take the title to Holland. Well, I'm sure there's going to be some serious discussions in the Belgian camp tonight, but the Dutch, they've got what they wanted. They've organised the championships here, and this will be interesting to see just how we finish this sprint off, because Mario de Klerk has been riding all of the time, and in fact Sven Nys, I think, has sat up here to let his compatriot ride up to the silver medal position, and what a strange ride this is for Belgium. Mario de Klerk, wearing number 1, the winner of the last 2 seasons, today has had to settle for second place. And Sven Nys, the most consistent bike rider on the cyclocross circuit this year, takes the bronze. Adrie van der Poel coming round the corner, for the last time in the World Championships. 40 years of age, he will retire from the sport of cycling in a couple of weeks' time as he salutes the crowd. 4th place for him, just outside of the medals, but he can rejoice in the fact that he knows he's helped his team leader, Richard Groenendaal, to give Holland the gold medal today. It's a farewell ride for Adrie van der Poel. What a great performer he's been. He's had silver medals, bronze medals, and 1 gold medal at the World Cyclocross Championships. But today, Richard Groenendaal gets his first crack at the senior title. World champion, wearing number 13, Richard Groenendaal. There's confirmation in 2nd place. Mario de Klerk, 38 seconds behind. Sven Nys in 3rd place. Wim de Vos of Holland in 5th place. 3rd place rider, Sven Nys. Well, today I think the sponsor took over responsibility from the country, and the Dutch will go home very happy today with the performance of this man. Tears welling up in the eyes of Mario de Klerk, the Belgian rider who takes 2nd place as the medal is put around his neck by Hein Verbruggen, the president of the Union Cycliste Internationale, cycling's international governing body. World champion last year, world champion the year before, and I'm sure he felt he had it in his legs today to take that title. But some form of complicity in the team, and even Sven Nys in 3rd position here, not looking very happy with his bronze medal. But one has to be sorry for this man, Mario de Klerk. He will come back and fight again, but today he could do nothing to catch the Flying Dutchman. Richard Groenendaal is world champion the year 2000, the sport of cyclocross. I hope you've enjoyed our World Cycling productions here of the World Championships. I'm Paul Sherwen saying goodbye.